Rome's origin story begins with blood. Romulus kills his twin Remus and founds a city at least. That's the legend. But the truth? Far messier. Archaeologists suggest Rome didn't start as a kingdom, but as scattered farming villages on the Palatine Hill. The people weren't warriors, they were survivors. And they weren't alone. North of them, the powerful Etruscans loomed. Some historians believe these outsiders didn't just influence Rome, they may have built it. Early Roman structures and myths mirror Etruscan ones, hinting that the so-called founders were actually conquered or absorbed. So did Rome rise, or was it borrowed? Either way, Rome's beginning wasn't clean. It was murky, violent, and possibly stolen. And the man at the center? Romulus might be more propaganda than person, a myth designed to make a bloody start look noble. The kings Rome wanted to forget. Before emperors and senators, Rome was ruled by kings, 7 of them, if tradition holds. Romulus was said to be the first, reigning after founding the city. But what came after was even more revealing. Some of these kings were Latin, others Etruscan. That's right, the very people Rome claimed to outgrow may have once sat on its throne. One king, Tarquinius Priscus, even built major parts of the city, including the first sewer system. That's how deep their influence ran. But the last king, Tarquin the Proud, pushed things too far. His reign ended in violence, sparked by a scandal so disturbing that even ancient historians tread lightly. A noblewoman named Lucretia was wronged by Tarquin's son, and her tragic fate ignited a revolt. Rome didn't just remove its king, it erased the monarchy itself. From then on, the word king became poisonous. Romans would rather die than see another man crowned. But here's the irony. While they claimed to destroy monarchy forever, what replaced it was just as ruthless and just as powerful. Republic or rigged game? After kicking out the kings in 509 BC, Rome declared itself a republic, run by the people, for the people. But that idea? Mostly for show. Real power stayed with the patricians, a small group of elite families who controlled the Senate, the courts, and most of the land. The rest of the population, the plebeians, had almost no voice. Rome claimed freedom, but built it on inequality. Tension exploded. The plebeians walked out, refusing to fight in Rome's wars unless they got representation. The elites caved, slowly. The plebeian council was born and eventually gained the power to make laws. But even then, the system was full of loopholes. One of the first major reforms, the 12 Tables, promised equal justice, but excluded women and slaves. It was progress, yes, but carefully controlled. Behind the scenes, Rome's people's government was a game of influence, family alliances, and backroom deals. The Republic was a step forward, but only if you were already on the inside. And as Rome expanded, so did its contradictions, until external wars and internal chaos made the cracks impossible to hide. Rome versus the world, the Punic Wars. Carthage was Rome's ultimate rival, richer, older, and master of the seas. Their clash, the Punic Wars, would define the ancient world. The Second Punic War brought a nightmare. In 218 BC, Hannibal marched an army and 37 war elephants across the Alps. It was a suicidal move that worked. He tore through Roman armies, winning battle after battle, including one where 50,000 Romans died in a single day. But instead of striking Rome directly, Hannibal waited. That delay let Rome recover. General Scipio Africanus turned the tide. He invaded Carthage, forced Hannibal home, and crushed him at the Battle of Zama. Rome didn't just win, they erased their enemy. In the Third Punic War, they burned Carthage to the ground. Some say they even salted the earth to kill it forever. Whether myth or fact, one thing was certain: defy Rome and you vanish. The Republic eats itself. With its enemies crushed abroad, Rome turned on itself. Power, once shared, began to concentrate, and the Republic couldn't hold it. Enter Julius Caesar, brilliant general, master manipulator. In 60 BC, he joined forces with Crassus and Pompey to form the First Triumvirate, a political alliance that bypassed the Senate entirely. For a few years, it worked. Then Crassus died, and the balance shattered. Caesar and Pompey clashed. Civil war erupted. In 49 BC, Caesar crossed the Rubicon, a move so bold it became a phrase for no turning back. He marched on Rome, defeated Pompey, and seized control. Then came the moment that doomed the Republic. Caesar was named dictator for life. He rewrote laws, minted coins with his face, and openly ignored the Senate. The elites panicked. On March 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Caesar was stabbed 23 times by senators hoping to restore the old order. Instead, they set Rome on fire. The assassination didn't save the Republic, it buried it. Chaos followed, civil wars broke out, and power passed to Caesar's heir, Octavian. Rome was about to become an empire, even if no one dared call it that yet. Empire in all but name, Augustus and the illusion of peace. After years of bloodshed, one man emerged from the ashes: Octavian, Julius Caesar's adopted heir. He outmaneuvered rivals, defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra, and took control of Rome. But he didn't call himself king or emperor. He called himself princeps, first citizen. The Republic technically still existed. Senators still met. Laws were still passed. But behind the curtain, Octavian, now Augustus, held absolute power. He controlled the military, the treasury, and religion. Everything flowed through him. And yet, the people cheered. Why? Because Augustus delivered what Rome hadn't seen in decades: peace. The Pax Romana began, a 200-year stretch of relative stability. Roads were built, cities flourished, and trade boomed. Augustus knew how to rule, and how to sell the illusion that nothing had changed. But it had. Behind the calm was a new order. Elections meant nothing. The Senate bowed on command. Rome had become an empire wrapped in republican skin. And that mask? It wouldn't last forever. Fire, ash, and crosses, Rome's turning point. In 79 AD, Mount Vesuvius erupted without warning, burying Pompeii and Herculaneum under tons of ash. Thousands were trapped, frozen in time. But beneath the tragedy, something remarkable survived: an entire Roman city, perfectly preserved. Homes, streets, even wall scribbles. It was Rome, paused forever. But the real turning point came centuries later, not from nature, but belief. In 312 AD, General Constantine prepared for battle. Legend says he saw a cross in the sky, followed by the words, "In this sign, conquer." He won, and everything changed. Constantine legalized Christianity. Temples gave way to churches. The old gods were abandoned. Within decades, Rome, once fiercely pagan, became the heart of a Christian empire. Then came another shift. Constantine moved the capital east to Byzantium, renamed it Constantinople, and redrew the map of power. Rome wasn't collapsing. It was becoming something else, something unrecognizable to its founders. The fall, and the Rome that refused to die. By the 5th century, Rome was crumbling. not just from the outside, but from within. Corruption, weak leadership, and endless infighting left the empire vulnerable, and the enemies were watching. In 410 AD, the Visigoths stormed Rome. It was the first sack of the city in 800 years. The shock rippled through the world. Rome, the eternal city, was no longer untouchable. Then came 476 AD. The Western Roman Empire's final emperor, Romulus Augustus, was deposed by a barbarian leader named Odoacer. No grand battle, no dramatic last stand, just a quiet collapse. But that wasn't the end. In the East, Rome lived on as the Byzantine Empire. For nearly 1,000 more years, emperors ruled from Constantinople, preserving Roman law, culture, and power. They built wonders like the Hagia Sophia and held off invaders for centuries, until 1453. The Ottomans broke through the walls of Constantinople. The last Roman emperor died in battle, and with that, the final flicker of the Roman Empire was extinguished. Or was it? Because even today, Roman influence is everywhere. In our laws, our languages, our buildings, even our religions. The empire may have fallen, but its shadow never left. Rome never left. Rome didn't just rise and fall. It transformed, fractured, and echoed across centuries. It began with myth and murder, built an empire through war, and reshaped the world through religion. From dusty hills to global dominance, it collapsed not with a bang, but with a slow unraveling that still fascinates historians today. But here's the twist. Rome never really ended. Its ideas live in modern governments. Its roads became the blueprint for modern infrastructure. Its language echoes in law, science, and speech. Even the calendar you use traces back to Roman hands. So when people say Rome fell, remember, they're only half right. The empire is gone, but its shadow still walks among us.